Very excited about this recruiting class. Really satisfied all our needs. We're waiting on a couple kids that aren't on the list. We're going to get them this afternoon. You'll hear about that at another time. But offensively, we need to come in and change a few things with the recruiting process and the personnel that we're trying to recruit. Coach Delaney did a fantastic job of getting a solid group of kids committed for us, made it easy for us. The staff really did a great job of evaluating talent and finding us some good kids and get them committed. But the change of personnel offensively, we definitely had to go a different direction in a few cases, and we are going to bring in 5 wide receivers. It sounds like a lot of wide receivers, but they're different guys. We'll have an inside type receiver that is a bigger kid, maybe a smaller tight end type, but can really run and athletic. We need the slot receiver that's a little guy that can make people miss, and then a little bit longer receivers outside. So different shapes and sizes in the receiver core, and we've got 5 waiting on another one, so we should be at 6 by the end of the day. And we're waiting on a running back. We need to sign 1. And we got a guy that we're waiting on there that I think can be a great fit for us. Offensive line-wise, got 4 guys coming in and a couple quarterbacks and 1 corner, 2 safeties, 2 linebackers, 2 D linemen. Really feel great about the balance there. And this could be a really great class here in a few years. But very excited about Montana and the kids that we got out of the state. The 5 guys that we signed are as good as I could ever imagine. We are ecstatic about the clean sweep that we had in the state of Montana. Any questions about anything?
Coach, what was it like to come in, you touched on a lot of the commits that had already been under Coach Delaney's staff, but what are some of the difficulties that go into joining a recruiting class when a lot of it's been shored up already and kind of switching the philosophy of the offense at the same time?
Just getting to know the kids that are getting recruited, if they're the type of kid on the field, off the field that we're looking for, and they did a great job of bringing the right kids in, and we got to stay with the majority of those guys. The other end of it, we need to score points. We've got to have personnel that's going to work with this offense, and you have to make some tough decisions sometimes to bring the right personnel in. I didn't want to wait a year to start recruiting the guys that fit us, and I want to recruit to where we want to be, and so we had to make a couple decisions, but not too many, and feel really good about it.
You touched on those 5 wide receivers and how they're going to be used in various ways, but you look at the roster coming back, there's a lot of receivers still on the roster. Is there too much of a good thing, and how are you going to find enough playing time for so many people in the same position?
But you really need 10 guys going into a game. With our offense and the up-tempo, you're going to need 8, and you got the 2 backups, and anybody goes down, you're going to have a couple swing guys, and you cannot have receivers running 90 snaps a game. You'll wear them out, wear them down, and they'll get injured. So you need a ton of guys, and 6 is fine, and we looked at the crew that we've got, and I think it's going to be a great blend, and I think some guys can play right away for us, and hopefully they don't have to, and we can redshirt them because we have better depth, but if they have to play, we're going to play them.
You have a couple quarterbacks coming in, some freshmen, some transfer. What do you think the outlook is for that position for Montana?
I hope it's good, and I don't know what these guys can do yet. I don't know what our quarterbacks are like. I haven't been able to work with them yet, and the old offense asked them to do different things than what I'm going to ask them to do. Also, we put a lot mentally on the quarterback to process things very quickly and get us into great situations. And I like the kids that are coming in, and I think we've got a few guys that possibly could be the guy this spring too. So it's going to be fun working with them, and you get them out there and you ask them to do the things that we typically want the quarterbacks to do, and hopefully we got a couple real strong ones in the end.
Coach, can you talk about the 2 coming in, particularly at quarterback, and how they can fit into what you do?
Willie Flug is a lot like the guy I had last year. Great feet, can extend plays, and I think he's a smart kid. And Challenge is a guy that's played in FBS game. I think he started 8 games in FBS and got a good arm, got good touch, a natural thrower, got good feet, and he can run to make the defense honest. And we need that in this system to be able to run enough. We're not going to run a lot with a quarterback, but you've got to keep the defense honest with that.
Coach, would you talk a little bit about your recruiting experience at School of Mines, how you did that, and then transferring in here to FCS, and any differences that you saw in terms of the whole process?
Well, the process here you can't miss. You've only got 14, 15 spots, and you can't really miss. And you're nervous taking a chance sometimes on kids. At Mines, you could take 35 kids and then bring them in and find out who's going to be great. So, I appreciate what Coach Delaney did for us by evaluating this talent. When we got in and watched the film, we were like, that's exactly what we would have went with also. And then we got some kids late that we felt really fit our offense, but the defensive side was already set.
And then generally the familiarity kids had with, not necessarily the ones that they had already committed, but some of the new kids you were talking to, their familiarity with the University of Montana, how high was it?
Selling this place is pretty easy. And, I love the experience of going out and traveling to the West Coast and across Montana. And when you bring up the University of Montana, people know who we are. And we'd have our shirts on in the airports and different restaurants, and people are saying, go Griz, in Washington and California. And so it's easy to sell this place. And it was just getting out, getting to know these kids. And it wasn't them getting to know Montana, it was getting to know me and our staff.
Out of the group of guys that were committing today, was there anybody was maybe non-committal a little bit and you weren't sure if you were going to get them, and then you get that letter and we're pretty excited? Any surprises, I guess?
Well, kids that wait down at the end, you can't say that they're non-committal. They're just making the right decision, and some kids will make a quick decision early and then want to make a change later. And Jesse Sims was a guy that I really enjoyed getting to know, and we were hoping he was going to come, and he had a couple good situations he could have chose from, and thank God he picked us.
What about Jesse? I mean, obviously he was getting recruited by some big schools. What excites you about him?
He's a fantastic athlete, and he's kind of the quiet storm. He doesn't say a whole lot, but he is a powerful, athletic guy that could do a lot of different things, and he's going to have a great career here. And he's a local guy, which makes it even better.
Look at the roster you have here, and I know you touched on you're waiting for running backs to commit, but Griz lost 2 all-conference type running backs last year. I know with an offense that's going to be very appealing to a quarterback, very appealing to a running back. How does the offense appeal to a running back, and how do you recruit that position?
What we looked at as far as numbers last year, our running back averaged 24.75 touches, so almost 25 touches a game. So they're going to get the ball in their hands running it. They're going to have to catch some balls. And for a running back, that's appealing. And there's a lot of reps, so there's a lot of carries and catches to go around with those guys. And we need 2 strong ones. So, I feel comfortable that we're going to get one this afternoon. We like the guys that are on the team already. Adding one, we're going to be just fine. We'll probably have to go get another one next year.
Coach, how about with sanctions that are already in place, how does that affect anything in recruiting for this class?
It doesn't help. You'd like to have those other 4 scholarships, but you just deal with the hand that you're given, and we try to get some kids that were great students that would qualify for the WUI, and that's not a bad thing. I like the kids that are serious about school, and we got a couple guys on partials, and you just make it work, and we're looking forward in a couple of years to have those scholarships back, but there's no excuse that we can't put together a great class, and we'll have the same approach next season.
The signees you've got so far, the majority of them are from Montana, and kind of the mantra of past staffs has been win Montana first and the rest will kind of follow. Being an outside of the state guy, how much value do you put on recruiting Montana kids first?
It's everything. You've got to recruit your state wherever you're at, and even more so here. And the passion for football and Griz football in the state is off the charts. And we've got to start with that foundation. And these kids don't get to 17, 18 years old, come here, and then start loving this football program and this school. They've loved it their entire life. So that's where we want to go with the basis and the nucleus of our recruiting classes is with them. Then we bring these kids from the West Coast here. It's going to be easy for them to love this place, having these Montana kids already here. So we're going to recruit this state. We're going to win this state every year.
Coach, talk about the athletes that are already here, returning from last year. You haven't had really much chance to interact with them yet.
Not much. We've had a team meeting. We've been in the weight room, which Coach Nicholson's handled. Next week, we're going to have them on the field for some conditioning for the first time. And that's what I look forward to, is getting to know them and starting relationships with those guys. We had a long winter break here, and it didn't allow us to get with our kids. And then I was on the road recruiting so much. So I know our kids are itching to get with us, and we are too.
Talking about some of these Montana kids, maybe start calling Bingham and a little legacy here too. But were you attracted to him?
He's an athletic, big kid, and he can do a lot of different things. We talked to him about playing the inside receiver position, and we think he's athletic enough to do it. You just got to go watch him play basketball, and he can play DN, he can play H for us, and his dad being an old Griz and a Hall of Famer, the bloodline is strong, and he was one of the guys that immediately when I got here, he was a guy I had to get signed. I had to have him.
Maybe another Montana kid to look at, Josh Sandry. We saw him do a lot, but at a smaller level. But how does his game translate to moving up to the level?
He's fantastic. He's an unbelievable athlete, and I was talking to a group earlier. Mark him down. He's going to be special here, and 6'4" high jumper, state champion, basketballer, dunks on people, great attitude, tough. He's everything you want in a football player.
What kind of lineman were you trying to recruit for this kind of system? What is the lineman's role, and who fits into that?
Inside you want the bigger, more powerful guys, because we still want to run the ball. We want a 1,000-yard rusher every year, but our tackles are going to be the taller kids outside. They've got to be big enough to handle a bull rush by a defensive end, and inside we got to have great feet and power to root people out. We're going to run a lot of inside zone stuff with our offense, and those guys have to be powerful and be able to grind people out. So it's not one of those things that we're going to have 6'6", 6'7" all the way across, and everybody's a pass pro guy and not a run blocker. We have to have a blend of those guys.
Coach, talk about the blending of the two staffs and how that's gone so far.
We retained 3 great guys that everybody was really excited that we kept, and we brought some old guys in, ex-Griz, that we definitely needed, that are awesome. Awesome people, number one, but we're great football players. They're going to be great coaches. And then I needed to bring guys that knew me in here also. So when you can tell you have a great staff is when you can tell them they can go home and they still hang around and are visiting together. You have to get along as a coaching staff, and if you don't have that, if you don't feel comfortable with people, it's not going to work. And the kids they're not stupid. They feel it when there's tension amongst the staff. So recruit good people first for your staff, and then the rest of it's going to take care of itself.
A couple of those guys, former players, obviously. What role did they play in recruiting here and recruiting in the state, especially?
They're going to be huge. We're going to send them out in Montana, and they know the state, and people know them, and they're going to be great coaches for us. But they understand this place, and like I said, we've got to win Montana every year, and we're going to be even bigger in the state in the future when we can go out and recruit it all spring and summer and in the fall, and people are going to come to our games and really be proud of the product that we're putting out there and how many homegrown kids we've got out there.
A couple of the guys, Montana guys you mentioned winning there, that came a little later maybe in the process, Dalton Dom and Bolden Bryan. Maybe explain the process with those guys and what you like about those two.
Excuse me, with Dalton, that was a no-brainer. And Dalton has track speed, he can fly, but he's a football player with track speed. He's not a track guy trying to play football. And he's a guy that we can play on the outside or in the slot, and we've got a lot of things where we can get him the ball. People talk about the fly sweep and my association with that. That's Dalton Dom. We're going to get him the ball with the fly sweep. We'll get him the ball in some screens, and he has the ability to put his foot in the ground and make people miss, but then the speed to take it all the way, take it to the house and make things simple. And I like that as a play caller, not have to call plays in the red zone and the +10. Go ahead and take that in the end zone. And I told the group earlier, it's going to put years on my life of not having to call goal line plays. So Dalton Dom's an exciting guy, and Holden is a fantastic athlete. And he's going to be a 235, 238 pound inside receiver with great ball skills, and he's going to be a mismatch on linebackers in zone situations, and in man-to-man he's going to have probably the 4th best cover guy covering him, and it will be a huge mismatch. And we have a lot of different ways of getting that inside receiver the ball, so I'm excited about him.
You guys good?
Hypothetical. If you had a running back like Marshawn Lynch and you were on the 1 yard line, what would you do?
I would not only give it to him, but I would have went fast. I would have never let him line up, because that's what we're going to do in short yardage situations where you go fast and you hand him the ball, and there's no way that guy's going to not get in the end zone. So I wouldn't have huddled up. I wouldn't have called timeout, anything. We would have just went.